Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the GTA Virtual Open House Session, Night 1. Just want to say congratulations once again on matching to family medicine at U of T. This evening's session will run from 7 to 9 p.m. We'll have 6 sites joining us. The first site is Credit Valley, as you can see on your screen. Each site will begin with a 5-minute pre-recorded presentation that will be followed by a 15-minute Q&A. We ask that you please use the Q&A button to participate in the Q&A portion of the session. And a reminder that a survey link will be sent out at the end of the week to submit your hospital site ranks, and it will be due on Monday, March 23rd at 8 a.m. All the sessions will be recorded and a link will be sent out to all participants as a reference. So without further ado, Credit Valley.
Hello, I'm Melissa Graham. I'm the Family Medicine Residency Site Program Director at the Credit Valley Family Medicine Teaching Unit at Trillium Health Partners. Trillium Health Partners encompasses 3 hospital sites: Credit Valley Hospital, Mississauga Hospital, and the Queensway Health Centre. Credit Valley Hospital is located in Mississauga, which is west of Toronto. By car, the drive can vary from 30 to 60 minutes depending on traffic. There is also well-established public transit and GO access. However, access to a vehicle is strongly recommended should you choose to complete electives at other sites. Mississauga is the 6th biggest city in the country with a population of over 721,000. We serve a diverse, multicultural, suburban population from all walks of life. The city has many trails, parks, shopping areas, restaurants, and social events and sporting events to participate in. Credit Valley Hospital is a very busy community hospital. You will experience a large variety of cases and a large volume of cases, from the bread and butter to the rare and complex. It is a very collegial environment where residents are welcomed and valued as team members. The Credit Valley Family Health Team is located in the medical building adjacent to the hospital. We operate across 2 sites, with the second site just a half a block away. We are a robust interprofessional team and are active in quality improvement. We are also a bilingual family health team providing services in both French and English. We have 18 residents in the program, 9 per year. We are the only core residency program run out of Credit Valley Hospital, which means a lot of one-on-one teaching and a lot of opportunity for hands-on experience. Credit Valley is a horizontal site. Residents care for a roster of approximately 100 to 150 patients and return to the Family Medicine Teaching Unit 3 half-days per week on most rotations. We decrease the half-days back during internal medicine and obstetrics in order to provide continuity on those acute care rotations. One of the other curricular highlights at our site are the horizontal experiences that are embedded in the family medicine curriculum. These include prenatal care and obstetrical care, procedural skills, homebound and palliative care, dermatology clinics, and psychiatric clinics. All of these opportunities are run out of our FMTU and allow residents to care for their own patients in various contexts and maintain continuity of care. This is an example of the core rotations that you'll experience at Credit Valley. We have a number of electives, which allows you to tailor your education to your learning objectives and your career goals. There are 3 electives in your PGY 1 year and 4 electives in your PGY 2 year. The core rotations are what you would expect to see and are particularly strong at our site in terms of the educational experience. We are a flexible and learner-centered site. In addition to valuing education over service, there are several wellness and social events throughout the year. The annual Wellness Day occurs every November and includes a seminar in the morning, followed by an off-site wellness activity and social event in the evening. We also host a welcome breakfast, a family health team barbecue, a holiday lunch, and graduation events. Several other events, such as resident retreats, are organized through your social rep over the course of the year. There are several opportunities to get involved in leadership roles and committees if you choose to do so. I would strongly encourage you to get involved and help us to continue to mold our program in order to provide the best possible educational experience. In terms of highlights, we believe we offer the best of both worlds, so to speak. As a community academic site, we serve a large and diverse population in a learner-focused way. The clinical teaching is largely one-to-one with faculty members, and there is constant hands-on experience. From a curriculum perspective, we ensure that every resident has access to the horizontal experiences that I described earlier, such as the psychiatric clinics or the procedure clinics. In addition, our academic half-day is consistently identified as exceptional by our residents. As a part of the academic half-day, you will also get to participate in problem-based small group learnings, as well as formal exam preparation. There are numerous teaching opportunities at Credit Valley. These include pre-clerkship courses such as portfolio, case-based learning, or clinical skills through the Mississauga Academy of Medicine. You will also teach clerks in the family medicine teaching unit as they rotate through on their core rotation. Clinically, residents enjoy the ability to maintain continuity of care with their patients, both in the office and across practice settings. You will follow your own patients and have the opportunity to see them in hospital, deliver their babies, and care for them in the home. Through all of these experiences, you will be supported by an experienced and enthusiastic faculty. With that being said, I will leave you with some contact information for myself, our program assistant, and the chief residents. Please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions, and good luck making your decision.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Melissa Graham. I'm the site program director at Credit Valley. We also have, I'll let the chief residents introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Sandra. I'm one of the current and outgoing chiefs here at Credit Valley.
I'm Sujin. I'm one of the PGY1s here and one of the incoming chiefs.
I'm Celia. I'm the admin for the program.
So from all of us, a huge congratulations. I remember the weight off the shoulders when match day is over, and it's exceptionally exciting to match to the University of Toronto. So we'd like to open it up to any questions that you have, and if I understand correctly, we're going to see some questions come up in the question and answer box when you feel ready. Okay, well, so the question is, are the half days held in Mississauga or downtown Toronto? All of your half days are held in Mississauga on site at the Family Medicine teaching unit here at Credit Valley Hospital.
Yeah, sure. The second question is, do the residents typically live in Mississauga? I'd say a lot of them do live in Mississauga, but we definitely have residents who live all across the GTA. So some people commuting from Oakville, Brampton, Vaughan. There have been a couple residents who live downtown as well and commute in from downtown.
Okay, what rotations have call and how is the call schedule set up? So there's two levels of call here. For family medicine in the horizontal curriculum, you're on home call, so you would do an evening clinic with the family physician. Generally, this is urgent care, and then you take your calls from home, and you would be on call for things like calls from palliative care patients, critical lab results, etc. The call frequency, I would say, is low. We don't get a lot of overnight calls at this site at this time. On your rotation, it varies. Because it's a horizontal site, there is a limit to how much overnight call you do because the expectation is that you're still coming to work the next day. So generally your calls will end around 10 p.m. on many rotations. There's some overnight call on pediatrics as well as obstetrics, in which case you'd get your usual post-call day. On other acute care rotations, you'll be on call for a weekend, but that's sort of a come in during the day activity and you're not expected to be in the hospital overnight. Okay. Hi, I think, okay. What does the PEDS rotation look like and what does procedure clinic looks like? I'm gonna pass this over to Sujin.
Yeah, so in terms of the pediatric rotations, you have 2 rotations first year and then 1 pediatric community clinic rotation in your second year. I can speak to the first year experience. A lot of it is one-on-one for the most part with a preceptor. You do inpatient medicine on the wards here as well as covering the emergency department. On different days, you can cover those, as well as emergency follow-up clinic as well. So there's quite a bit of diversity. Again, working one-on-one with the staff physicians here is a really great opportunity to kind of truly work on your learning with them. They can spend all their time with you, and they do trust you quite a lot as well. So I would say from my rotations in first year, I've had a really good experience with them. In terms of the procedure clinics, so we have a procedure clinic within our family medicine teaching unit as well, which is supervised by one of the family medicine preceptors. There's a wide variety of things that you can do in that, from joint injections to removing moles to many other things as well. It usually looks like you and one other resident with the staff working through these procedures throughout the morning as well. And again, lots of great exposures during that time. So you'll get a lot of that even during your regular family medicine experience as well.
Great. The next question is there a lot of travel between the hospital and community sites during horizontal experiences? No. The hospital is on the same property as the FMTU. For all of your core rotations are done at the hospital, with the exception of mental health, where you may go just across the city to Mississauga Hospital to complete some of the psychiatry clinics there. It's about a 15-minute drive, I would say, in good traffic. There's also a shuttle available between the two hospitals, but primarily you are sort of in this 1 block radius. Would you add anything to that, Sandra?
No, and there's just in first year, the MSK Durham block, there are a couple times where you might have a clinic in Oakville or at UTM, but otherwise all the rotations are based out of Credit Valley unless you schedule electives elsewhere.
Okay. If you go on an away elective, what is the process for finding someone to cover clinic? You ask one of your friends. Generally, either you'll have a buddy in the clinic that you cover when they're away, they cover when you're away, and this is all arranged through the chief residence. During electives, do you still have to come back to family medicine clinic? It's a great question, and it gets asked every year. So the answer is yes, you do. In this program, you do 2 to 3 half days of your family medicine time every week. If you're doing an elective further away, there's some flexibility, but there is a maintenance to your family practice that has to be demonstrated. There are opportunities for away electives. You can have up to 1 away elective per year in your residency training, and that's a central department policy where you can leave your site and go and do something at another university and not return to your family clinic for that block. Okay, I'm going to move to the next question, and I'm going to go over here. What types of procedural opportunities are there, and are there opportunities to assist in the ORs? I'll actually take this one. So we don't have a core surgical rotation. In lieu of that, we instituted the procedure clinic. The procedure clinic, as Sujin alluded to, does joint and shoulder injections, trochanteric bursitis, several skin procedures. There is an opportunity to learn OR assisting. Generally, we do that through an elective experience. But what I recommend to residents is they tell me what they're interested in, and then I help them to find the right contacts to achieve those opportunities. Okay, the next question is, do residents get to design their own horizontal experience clinic schedule, i.e. decide how much Durham Psych Clinic? Not usually. When there's residents that have a specific interest, we have tried to work with them to have them attend additional of those clinics when they're on elective. But we do want to make sure that every resident achieves competence in those skills. So generally speaking, we track how many times each resident is in those clinics to make sure it's equitable across the training program. Do you want to take peds?
Sure, yeah. So there's a question here. Is the pediatrics inpatient only or a combination of inpatient and outpatient? So in the first pediatrics blocks, the 2 that you get in first year, you have some combination of both. So you do get a mix of seeing peds wards, doing emerge consults, as well as doing some outpatient clinics out of the hospital here. So those would include like pediatrics, respirology clinic, dermatology, endocrinology, etc. And then in the second year peds block, that one is community-based, and so it's all outpatient clinics in Mississauga.
Okay. Just reading down the list here. We have a question about international medical graduates and if we are accepting IMGs this training year. Yes, we do. We do every year. We have 2 IMG positions at our site each year.
For sure. So the next question is OB call done with family doctors or with OBGYNs? It's a bit of both. In terms of your obstetrics rotation specifically, that's done with the obstetricians that are in the hospital here. And again, it's one-on-one, so you get a lot of really great experience overnight and get to do a lot of the hands-on things overnight in terms of deliveries and helping with cesarean sections and everything like that. As Dr. Graham alluded to earlier with call, part of our responsibility is covering the family medicine teaching unit, and part of your call responsibility can also be in terms of the obstetrical patients that are part of the family medicine teaching unit. So if there are deliveries that happen at that time, you may be called in for that. It's relatively infrequent, but definitely does happen, and that's with the family doctor within our unit as well.
And just to add on to that as well, so the longitudinal prenatal curriculum that you do is with the family physician out of our clinic who does that. So you'll be seeing patients in the family clinic and getting to follow them over time and ideally deliver them yourself. So it's really nice to have that continuity piece as well.
Okay, we only have a few minutes left and we always have so much to say. So I'm going to start grouping some of these questions. So I realize there's still questions about electives. We will come back to them in a moment. I just want to make sure we've answered some of these other standalone questions. So for internal medicine, are the preceptors from internal medicine? The answer is both. You do 2 CTU rotations that are supervised by internal medicine specialists, and you do 2 inpatient family medicine rotations. It's one of the unique features of our site, and one of the very strong features of our site is the family medicine hospitalist rotation. The case mix, I would say, is about the same between the 2 groups, which makes the experience extra valuable, really. So I'm going to go next. Are you matched to a specific family medicine preceptor, or do you work with everyone in the family health team? The answer again is both. You will have a faculty advisor assigned to you when you arrive on day 1. You will work in the FMTU on the half day that your preceptor is there, so that you have the opportunity to have continuity in your education over the year. You will also be in clinic though on 2 other days where you'll get to be get to work with other preceptors as well. There are 11 core preceptors at our site and 18 residents. We all get to know each other quite well. Okay, so we have. So with respect to electives, there are 3 in first year, 4 in second year. As I've already said, you can take up to 1 away elective per year. For those interested in pursuing a fellowship in PGY3, generally you've made that known to me at some point during your PGY1 year, so that we can look at how your PGY2 year is scheduled. As I'm sure you already know, being just recently matched, word travels fast, you have to book those electives fairly early. So we really want to be having conversations about what your plans are about 6 months into your training, so that we can help guide your elective experiences.
Yeah, I can answer. So one of the questions for CTU, are there medicine seniors on call with family medicine residents? So typically when you're on your CTU rotations, you will work with a team. So there's typically a medicine senior, yourself, and oftentimes you'll have medical students as well who are rotating through from the Mississauga site, the MAM site. When you do your call shifts on CTU, like Dr. Graham mentioned, it's not overnight shifts. It's typically 1 evening per week, and then you do 1 weekend just day shifts. So when you're on call in the evenings, there's not a medicine senior, you work one-on-one with the staff that evening, so you'll see consults in the emergency department through them, but normally during the daytime you are on a CTU team and typically we'll have a medicine senior.
There was a question about the specific interests of the preceptors in the Credit Valley FMTU. We have preceptors interested in and working in addiction medicine, emergency medicine, hospitalist medicine, homebound and palliative care, medical education, obviously, behavioral medicine, and family medicine obstetrics. All of us, with that being said, have comprehensive family practices. There was a question about do I get a 1-year schedule ahead of my rotations? I hope I'm interpreting this question correctly, but you do receive your year's schedule when you match, shortly after you match to the site, once that schedule is completed. So you will know the order of your rotations in May, I would say, May to June, yeah. So before you arrive, you will know what your rotation schedule is. Just scroll down if we still have a couple more minutes. What PGY3 opportunities are available? Well, all of them that are available to apply to, right? You would arrange your electives in your area of interest and facilitate application. And I'm going to answer this last question about the French population. So I'm wondering, how large is the French patient population? I don't speak any French. You do not need to speak French at this site. We have a second site that is bilingual. We present it in our slide deck, so if there are trainees who have an interest in being able to build their skills seeing patients in French, they have the opportunity to do so, but it is by no means a requirement, and I would say most patients have English as a second language. So thank you so much for taking the time. I know I didn't get to every single question. I'm going to encourage all of you to email Sandra or Sujin with your questions so that we can answer them more fully. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Natalie Morrison and I'm the Family Medicine Site Program Director at Mount Sinai. I'm going to spend the next few minutes telling you about our site and why we think you should join us in July. Key feature of our program is that we are a horizontal program. That means that starting on day 1, you'll have your own mini practice of patients that you'll look after for the 2 years of your residency. You'll be in our unit 3 half days per week on most rotations, and this allows you to get a really good sense of what it means to be a family physician. With support, you'll be responsible for ordering and reviewing all the lab tests and imaging for your patients. They will identify you as their family physician. I also want to highlight how integrated the family medicine residency program is in our family health team. We're a bit unique in that we're a centralized unit, so we all work together in one clinic space. We're a fairly small unit with 13 staff family physicians and about 24 residents and a full complement of allied health professionals. You really get to know everyone and feel like part of our team. All members of the team are really committed to the residency program, and no decision is made in our unit without considering the educational impact. We're also committed to constantly improving our program and are open to resident feedback. We have an education committee that meets about every 6 weeks to review the existing program as well as to come up with ideas for improvement. We also have a dedicated resident wellness curriculum that has developed over the last few years. I wanted to highlight a couple of aspects of a resident wellness curriculum that we're really proud of. The first one is Heart Day, which is an annual half-day program that gives us the opportunity to reflect on the art of and in medicine. The session happens in someone's home, and the residents and staff have the opportunity to share poems, songs, art pieces, and photographs, and reflect on their meaning. It gets a little more impressive every year, and it's a great opportunity to connect with colleagues in a casual environment and reflect on this aspect of physician wellness. Another program that we've developed over the last few years is what we're calling the Portfolio or Reflection Rounds. Those of you who went to med school at U of T will be familiar with the Portfolio program. It's a longitudinal small group program that's facilitated by a staff from a different site and allows us to explore different topics together, like transitions either from med school to residency or from residency to practice. We talk about boundaries with family and patients, and we talk about what drives and finding the meaning in medicine. We're an innovative family health team that really does combine the best of patient-centered care, education, and research. We provide comprehensive care from the newborn stage to the elderly, including a large maternity care program that includes intrapartum obstetrics. It's also worth noting that we have a number of special programs with focuses on diabetes, mental health, maternity care, homebound seniors, and chronic pain. A variety of allied health professionals, including nurses, nurse practitioners, dietitians, social workers, a pharmacist, and midwives, are centrally involved in these programs and therefore centrally involved in your education. If any of these areas are of interest to you, there'll be ample opportunity for both clinical and academic work in these areas. Let's take a look at the rotations that you'll go through at Mount Sinai. As you can see, PGY1 is full mainly of the core rotations, including emergency medicine, internal medicine, family medicine obstetrics, women's health, pediatric emergency medicine, geriatrics, MSK, community pediatrics, and palliative care. You'll have one elective block. And remember that for most of these rotations, you'll be spending 3 half-days per week at the family health team looking after your own practice. The exception is internal medicine, where you'll have 2 half-days back. PGY2 has fewer core blocks, allowing 6 months of elective time, but you will do core rotations in emergency medicine, family medicine obstetrics, cardiology, endocrinology, outpatient psychiatry, and of course your 2 blocks of teaching practice. We've summarized what we think are the top 10 reasons that you should join us at Mount Sinai. We're a flexible program with 7 blocks of elective time that you can tailor to your interests or educational needs. A great feature of our program is that many of your core rotations are supervised by family physicians. The emergency room at Mount Sinai is staffed by family medicine ER docs. Your obstetrics rotation is with family medicine OB team at Mount Sinai. And as well, many of the preceptors in your MSK, geriatrics, and palliative care rotations are family doctors. You'll really get the sense of the full breadth of family medicine as a discipline. As I mentioned, we have an education committee that is specifically designed to obtain resident input and use it to make positive changes to the program. All of your clinics will run alongside your fellow residents. 3 or 4 of you will be grouped with 1 family physician for each half day of clinic, and then chart review happens at the end of the clinic and is a great opportunity to learn with and from your fellow residents. Your program director, as well as your full complement of teachers, is committed to continuous program and resident wellness. We've already talked about the important role of the education committee, as well as the resident wellness curriculum. There's no surgery rotation in our program, which for many people is a plus. We do, however, have procedural skills teaching that happens in the family medicine unit. Many of our family medicine teachers perform procedures, including lumps and bumps removal, IUD insertions, endometrial biopsies, and joint injections. We also have both a family physician and a general surgeon that run procedure clinics in the family medicine unit, and residents rotate through that experience. We're located right downtown across the street from Mount Sinai Hospital, and we're steps away from Queen's Park subway station and really anything that you could need, so most residents don't feel that they need a car. Many of the rotations are either at Sinai or close by, so that makes it quite easy. As I mentioned already, there's lots of procedure teaching both in the clinic as well as in the academic half-day curriculum, so there's plenty of opportunity to learn procedures. And we really do pride ourselves on our dedicated and talented teachers. As I mentioned, our whole unit really is dedicated not only to our patients, but to our residency program as well. So you will benefit from a whole team of teachers that include not just family physicians, but allied health professionals as well. And last but certainly not least, we really do feel that the horizontal program really prepares you well for real-life practice as a family physician. You will begin to see yourself as a family physician right away, and your patients will see you that way as well. There's no better preparation for real practice. So that's Mount Sinai Family Medicine in a nutshell. I hope we've piqued your interest and that you'll consider joining us in July. Please feel free to reach out to Paula or I if you have any questions. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Morrison, and I am the program director at Mount Sinai. So I'm here tonight to answer your questions. Paula DeRocha is our program assistant, who's also logged in from home, but she's having some technical difficulties. So I'm just going to go ahead. So we've got a few questions coming in, so I'll go ahead and start. So the first question is about how many elective blocks there are in second year before the +1 applications are due. That's a little bit different year to year. We certainly do try to give second year residents 1 or 2 blocks of elective time before those CARMS applications are due, recognizing that people are going to need reference letters, etc. And especially for those of our residents who are having those PGY3 applications, we try to prioritize that. Another question about call. So in terms of rotations with 24-hour call, generally, just like based on PARO guidelines, in-house call is 1 in 4. As you guys know, that doesn't always mean literally 1 in 4, but over the month. So typically in first year, it's our family medicine obstetrics block. So that's 2 blocks of that, and then a 3rd block in PGY2. And then of course, internal medicine. So 2 blocks of internal medicine in first year would be 24-hour call. And again, the frequency depends on a little bit on the rotation itself. So what other hospitals do residents do rotations at? It's variable. So most of the core rotations are at Mount Sinai and UHN, so Toronto General and Toronto Western, so they're quite close by. In terms of electives, it can be quite widespread. So we have residents doing some electives at Women's College, at St. Mike's, at other more community hospitals, at community clinics as well. And so that's quite variable, but most of the core rotations are at Sinai and UHN, which is why we said in the presentation that most of our residents don't feel that they need a car, which can be quite convenient. Call schedules, there's a question about call schedules and what they look like. It's a bit tough, like it's a little bit variable sort of rotation to rotation, but again, it's typically the 1 in 4 for the rotations that it is. There's a question about how many residents are in each year's cohort. We have sort of 24, 25 residents total at a time. So it's usually 12 or 13 in each of our PGY1 and PGY2 years. And remember, it's a horizontal program. So you guys really do get to know each other and really do sort of bond and really create a community around with your fellow residents. Rural placements at Mount Sinai. So there are not formal, other than teaching practice, there are not formal rural placements. So typically residents are not doing rural rotations. And again, other than teaching practice, part of your program is coming into our clinic to see your own patients 3 half days a week. And so typically residents aren't doing rotations far away because that does impede their ability to come back and see their own patients. And there's another question about that, electives outside of the city. We do consider sort of out of province and in certain circumstances, international electives. Those are really sort of approved based on the fact that a resident feels that they really need to go out of province or out of the country to achieve their educational goals. And again, it's based on the fact that we are a horizontal program. And so there really is priority on you managing your own patient practice, because we think that that's a valuable part of your learning as future family physicians. Certainly not to say they're never approved. We do approve those electives, but there really has to be a pressing reason that you feel like you can't meet those educational needs in Toronto. Another question about home call for the horizontal family medicine. So we do have family health team call. So there's a resident and a staff on call every day, every night I should say, and over the weekend. It's pretty low burden call. We provide backup to Telehealth Ontario. So all of the calls that come into our family health team are screened through telehealth, and only the ones the telehealth nurses can't answer or are concerned about come through to us. So it's not unusual to have a call where you don't get called at all. You may be at 1 or 2 calls. And so it's really not at all burdensome. And so that's not anything that you need to be too worried about. We have after hours clinics on Mondays and Thursdays. And each of those clinics, again, is staffed by one resident and 1 staff family physician. And so that is something that you'll be doing usually on your half days back, so that you are already in our clinic and you just stay a little bit extra for after hours clinic. There's a question about where residents typically live. I would say most of our residents live downtown just for proximity. We certainly have had residents, when I was a resident at Sinai back 2006, I lived in Etobicoke for part of it and commuted back and forth. So we certainly do have residents that do that. Not typically outside of Toronto, just for logistical reasons. And again, most of our residents do live downtown. So there's a question, are we competing with specialists at Mount Sinai for learning opportunities whilst on core rotations? It's a little bit variable. So for example, your obstetrics rotation is a family medicine obstetrics rotation. And so you're not competing with anybody. You are only family medicine residents on the rotation, on the team, working only with family doctors, looking after only family medicine obstetrics patients. So there's no competition there. On medicine, There's plenty of work for everybody to go around. So you are working on a team with the internal medicine residents and with some other off-service residents, but nobody's ever complained about a shortage of patients to see on medicine, so that's not a problem. Again, in Emerge, it's typically family medicine residents and PGY3 Emerge fellows. And again, in an emergency room at Sinai that's staffed by family physicians with the PGY3 CCF-PEM designation. So there typically is not a lot of competition there. You know, endocrinology, cardiology depends a little bit on the clinics that you're at. But for the most part, the people that have been teaching in our program have been teaching for years in our program, and so have a pretty good sense of what the learning goals of our residents are and are able to help them achieve those goals. Are the 3 half days back for both years of residency? Yes. So the only rotations that you are not coming back to clinic for 3 half days is when you're on your teaching practice in your PGY2 year and when you're on internal medicine in PGY1. So for internal medicine, you come back 2 half days a week. And that's just because it was felt that the 3 half days back were a little bit too disruptive to continuity of care on the team. And so we pulled it back a little bit, but otherwise for all of your rotations, you'll be back in our clinic for the full 3 days. And I want to sort of emphasize that I think that's a selling feature. I think it is an excellent way to prepare yourself for practice. And I think that it is a really good way to get a sense of really what it's like to be a family doctor. And hopefully that's why you're all here. And so my reflections, again, myself having been a resident in this program a number of years ago and speaking to our residents, is that you really do quite quickly feel like you're taking on that professional role as a family physician in a horizontal program. And so I really hope that you guys see that potential learning opportunity for what it is. So, and on that note, there's a question about whether the other off-service rotations are understanding about that half day back. And I would say yes. Again, these are specialty teams that have been working in our program for years. And so they are quite understanding of it. There are some times where we kind of do have to work around it with some scheduling, creative scheduling, I'll say, and Paula is the guru of that, and we've sort of over the years figured out how to schedule residents on certain rotations so that it's less disruptive. So the next question is about one-on-one teaching time. So the question is whether with 3 to 4 residents paired with each preceptor during family medicine, whether residents are still getting good one-on-one teaching. So to clarify, during your half days back, you will be running clinic with 2 to 3 of your fellow residents, and you'll be supervised by 1 preceptor, but that preceptor is not running their own clinic. So all we are doing during those half days is supervising the resident clinic. So we are in a little room where we can sort of by camera sort of observe the resident clinic rooms, and we are there only to answer your questions and to review the cases. So even though there's 3 or 4 of you working with 1 preceptor, there's still loads of one-on-one teaching time, and the chart review that happens at the end of the half day is a small group, and there can be some really valuable learning there, so that's great. Yes, there are opportunities to work with and teach medical students. We have a medical student in our clinic for most of the rotations of the undergrad medical school year. And those clerks rotate through clinics with both staff and residents. So if you're interested in teaching, there's loads of chance for teaching with clerks. And then also sort of the sort of classroom teaching with clerks. There's lots of opportunity for that as well. So if you're interested, absolutely, we'll take you up on that interest and we'll utilize your skills. The rural sites for the teaching practice are all DFCM wide, so you are not limited in choosing that based on which site you're at. So by all means, you have access to all of the ones that are available through the DFCM. There's a question again about calls and overnight calls. So in terms of overnight call, again, it's typically just in obstetrics and medicine, unless you're doing other electives. You will have overnight shifts when you're doing emergency medicine, pediatric emerge, but typically in terms of being fully on call overnight, it really is just those rotations. A question about what proportion of our residents do a PGY3. It's very variable. 1 to 3 a year, I would say, depends a little bit on interest, but that's a bit of a tough question to answer because it just depends on interest. I would say for the most part, those of our residents that are interested in a PGY3 year have been successful in doing one, but again, it really just depends on interest and who's applying. So there's a question again about an out of province or an out of city elective. Yes, so any elective that would require you to miss your half days back would require special approval. And again, I don't want to leave you guys with the impression that we don't approve them. But again, it would need to be on a case by case basis. So I can't really sort of give you any more specifics about that. After hours requirements, how often do they happen? Not once a week, not at all. So remember, there's 2 after hours clinics a week and 25 residents. And there's only 1 resident in each clinic. So it's, you know, a frequency of, you know, once every couple of months or so, I would say. The half days back will vary. Which half days back you are, which half days you're back in family medicine will vary based on which rotation you're on. For that block, they tend to be the same. So if it's, you know, you're on your internal medicine block, you're back Tuesday afternoons, for example, you'll be there all Tuesday afternoons, but block to block, it will vary for sure. Endocrinology and cardiology in second year. So as of right now, the cardiology experience is fully outpatient. The endocrine rotation is a mix of inpatient and outpatient, but that sometimes does fluctuate to the program. Absolutely, there's an option to do a surgical elective if you're interested. So that's not a problem. The women's health block is interesting. It's not sort of typically a gynecology block. It's a mix of different experiences, including time in the Bay Center for Birth Control, as well as osteoporosis clinic, fertility clinic, some gynecology clinics with our gynecology colleagues. So it's a bit of a mishmash. I'm being told by the powers that be that was our last question. So thanks very much for listening, and I hope to see you, some of you, with us at Mount Sinai in July. Thanks.
So welcome to the Markham-Stouffville Hospital open house presentation. My name is Dr. Amanda West, and I'm one of the co-site directors at the Markham-Stouffville site. I am currently sharing the role with another physician who's in transition. So where is Markham? We are a suburb of Toronto, approximately 40 minutes, depending on traffic, northeast of the downtown core. We are a very multicultural community with a number of new immigrants and first-generation Canadians, most of them from South Asia, the South Asian community or the Asian community. A lot of our patients speak a variety of languages outside of English, including Cantonese, Mandarin, Punjabi, Tamil, and a variety of other languages. And we serve not only the Markham community, but also Stouffville, Uxbridge, and a number of smaller communities in the York region and North Durham regions. So our program, we are expecting to accept 8 Canadian medical graduate and 1 international medicine graduate. We are a horizontal program, so you do have 3 half-day backs or HDBs, which you'll see later in the schedules, per week, no matter the rotation that you're on, and we do not have a block of family medicine. You're doing your family medicine throughout the 2 years. We are considered a preceptor-based model. We have a family medicine teaching unit, and there are 13 family doctors who work out of the unit, all who do teaching with our residents. Each resident will be given a practice of approximately 150 to 200 patients, which all of whom will consider that resident to be their primary family doctor, and you will provide all care for those patients during your time with us. So, this is our rotations for year 1 and year 2. We have 2 electives in our first year and 4 electives in our second year. We have a number of selectives in the second year, which means that you're able to choose any area of that specialty for those rotations. An example of what one of our core rotations might look like, this is our PGY1 pediatrics. So you can see that you have 3 areas where you have your half-day backs. That's done in the family medicine clinic. You have a Wednesday morning didactic sessions or more hands-on sessions called the academic half day, which is common to all the sites, and then a variety of different clinics in pediatrics to try and give you a full breadth of community pediatrics in a number of areas that would be of interest to family medicine. So highlights of the program. So when speaking to our residents, they feel that the highlights to our program is it's a comprehensive program. It's a community-based program. So at Markham Stouffville Hospital, there is only family medicine based in the hospital. There are very few other residents. You are not on a hierarchical team with junior residents, senior residents, off service, on service. You are the only resident often on the team. And so there's really one-to-one teaching, and the specialists are really interested in learning what you want to learn and what's important to you becoming a family doctor. So it's really focused on family medicine and what we need to learn as family doctors, and not how to make you into their specialty. Global health. So many of our residents are coming to us for our global health program. So we are the only site at the University of Toronto with a dedicated health equity global health rotation, which can be done either locally or internationally. We also have a global health director, Dr. Melanie Henry, and she helps to organize monthly lunch rounds for the residents and staff, as well as there is a monthly global health teaching, which really focuses on the social determinants of health as part of our academic half day. In the picture, you can see one of our past residents, Dr. Choi, who did a rotation in the Philippines under the supervision of Dr. Bertucci. These particular pictures, we're looking at the procedures day, which was run by our emergency medicine colleagues, who brought in all the supplies to teach suturing and biopsies. They've had castings. We do gynecological procedures teaching as part of our academic half days, talking about IUD insertions and endometrial biopsies. We have a gynecological procedures clinic and a minor procedures clinic as part of our family medicine teaching unit, and all the residents rotate through that, and it's all taught by family medicine. All our emerge docs are also family medicine as well, so it's really got a very strong family medicine focus to our procedures teaching. As well, we have a beautiful resident space in our teaching unit, so this is one side of it. So there are approximately 10 computers that are only for the residents, for finishing notes, checking hospital records, really just an area also for the residents to come together and share in their common experiences. And this is outside of the area of the unit that's dedicated to seeing patients, that is meant for just the residents. So that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, we're always more than happy to hear from you. So you can see my contact information, as well as for our two chief residents and our program director, Beverly Nutt. We're more than happy to have you come visit the site as well. Feel free just to send us an email. Thank you.
So hi everyone, I'm Nadine Aliswad. I'm one of the co-site directors with Dr. West, who you just heard in the presentation. So I don't know if anyone has any questions for me. So the question is about more complex patients who require specialists. Yes, they do stay in Markham. We have a lot of specialists in Markham. So most of the time we refer to the docs in our community, but sometimes if they need like a little bit more specialized care, we refer them downtown. So for the global health or health equity selective, people do a variety of things. So some people will do more of like an inner city health experience more locally. Other residents have gone up north to the territories. We've had a lot of residents that went to the Philippines with Dr. Bertucci as well. More recently, we had a few residents go to China, Japan, Sri Lanka. So you can really make it what you want. Most residents live, I would say, in Markham. Some live in Richmond Hill or some of the areas, but we have had some residents that live downtown and commuted to Markham. It's not ideal, but you can definitely do it because you're going against traffic, so it's not too bad. For the rotations in Uxbridge, no one has their core family medicine based in Stouffville or Uxbridge, but the hospitalist rotation is in Uxbridge. So for the hospitalist rotation, yeah, Uxbridge has a small hospital there, and it's almost like an internal medicine elective, but you're working with a family doctor who has an interest in hospital care. And I think you have the opportunity to do some emerge shifts in their hospital too. They don't have any specialists in the Uxbridge hospital, so if you need a consulting doctor, then usually they're sent to Markham. But it's a really good rotation and people really enjoy that one. Yeah, the health equity and teaching practice, those are the two blocks that you wouldn't have to return back to family medicine clinic. Some people will occasionally do other electives outside of the unit, but we try to limit that just because it is a horizontal practice and you have a responsibility to see your patients. So we try to minimize the disruption in the care of your patients. So usually those are the 3 blocks that you are not required to come back in for family medicine clinic. So out of the city, I mean, if you're able to come back for your half-day backs, then there's no problem. You can do it anywhere in the GTA really. But if you want to do it outside of the GTA, you have to, it's really decided on a case-by-case basis, just because we try to minimize it, the disruptions to your clinic. So it's hard to give you a number, but we take it on a case-by-case basis. Definitely there have been electives that have been approved, but you really have to show that it's an experience you're not able to get in the GTA community. In terms of horizontal, yeah, I would say, so for the question about coming back for half-day backs, like most of the docs, they know how the program is. They know you have your half-day backs. So they're pretty understanding of that. Yeah, usually we try to make your half-day backs on days that make sense for that rotation. So for example, like for the surgery block, we don't want you to miss the lumps and bumps clinic that they have, so that's a good opportunity. So we won't put your half day back on that day. So we kind of work with the rotation to see what makes sense so that you're getting the most out of that rotation, but still able to care for your patients. You have 3 half day backs to your clinic. There's no housing in Uxbridge, but it's really close. It's like a 30-minute drive from the hospital. It doesn't really take very long, and there's no traffic, and it's a nice drive. So usually people just stay where they're living. The call schedule. So call schedule is really good in Markham. So OB, you do have overnight call and internal medicine, but it's not a teaching unit, like a teaching unit. So you're the only resident that's there. So there's not this like responsibility of being on call 1 and 4. I think it's maybe once a week, and then you do like a few weekends overnight call. So yeah, and usually the call during the week is not overnight call. It's only until like a certain time. I think it might be midnight for internal medicine, but it's pretty light. So yeah, no one usually complains about the call schedule at Markham. The other thing too, similar to Mount Sinai, we do have our evening clinic. So that happens Monday to Thursdays and Saturdays. So it is rotated through. So there's some rotations where we know you're really busy and you have more heavier call responsibilities like internal medicine or ER. For example, you won't be expected to do the urgent care at that time, but all the other blocks you are expected to do it. But it's a really good opportunity to see a lot of acute cases, and the residents actually really enjoy that. The mental health block is our psych rotation. So you usually work with the psychiatrists at our hospital. So it's a mix of inpatient and outpatient care. I don't know if there's an opportunity to get like formal CBT training, but there is an opportunity to join some of the CBT groups and kind of learn from there, but it wouldn't be like a formalized CBT program. Yeah, so the questions about the enhanced skills program and if residents have been successful. Many of our residents have been successful. We did have 2 residents match this year for the enhanced skills program. So the surgery block, it's actually, so most people have bad experiences on surgery block in med school, but honestly, people really enjoy the surgery block at Markham Stouffville Hospital. So you can do a little bit of OR if you want. So there's like an opportunity to gain some skills in surgical assisting, but a lot of the time is spent in the clinics seeing referrals from family doctors for, common surgical issues. There's also the opportunity to do like some minor procedures as well. You do some call as well. So you get some calls from the ER that you can see as well. The pediatrics rotation, there's no ER or PICU. There is some inpatient experience, but a lot of it is outpatient. So we have 2 rotations. We have one in first year and one in second year. The one in first year, you rotate through different subspecialty clinics. So you can do some experience with a pediatric endocrinologist, pediatric cardiology, some developmental clinics, and then inpatient work. And the second year, there's a lot of, we call it the pediatric ambulatory care clinic. So those are some more like acute cases. So patients that are referred from the ER or from their family doctor that need to be seen by a pediatrician more urgently. There's also the opportunity to do the newborn clinic where you're doing a lot of like bilirubin checks and managing like infants that are having difficulty gaining weight. There's also the opportunity to work in the breastfeeding clinic and gain some skills about lactation consulting. What do residents do for fun? So the residents they're a really close group actually. So they plan a lot of social gatherings. There's a lot of really good food in Markham. So they do like to go out and spend time together doing that. I think they've gone to like escape rooms in the past, trampolining, like different activities. So I know it's not downtown, but there's still a lot of fun things to do in Markham. The research program. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for from that, for like about the research program specifically. We do have, so Dr. Muda Singwa is our research lead. So he works with our research assistant. We do have several projects. A lot of them are not being led necessarily by doctors in our unit, but through Utopian, we're part of like research that's done at various sites as well. The residents do an academic project in their second year too, and in the first year they do the quality improvement project. So for the support for QI and research projects, Dr. Yip is the QI lead for the residents, so she will be a big support for you in helping you do that and do the project. And Joanna is the research assistant, so she'll be able to help with like just the planning of everything and kind of figuring out how you're going to do your project specifically. There's also a workshop that they do with our site, and then there's a few other sites, I think Newmarket and Scarborough as well, where you have a big QI day, and that helps you prepare you to do your QI project. For the research project, there's a lot of getting the REB approval and getting all your documents together, and Joanna is really, really helpful with the residents to get prepared for that. And we were really successful in getting all of our projects approved this year. To get residents involved in Utopian, yes, I believe there's always projects that are coming our way that they want Markham's input in. So definitely, if you're interested, Dr. Mudasingwa would be able to help you and connect you to the right people to get you involved in that. But I'm sure we could work with that. So with the preceptor-based model, you do have one preceptor that follows you throughout the year, which is really nice because you really get to develop a mentorship kind of relationship with that person. We try to put you with your preceptor for at least 1/2 day a week if we can, depending on your rotation. So some rotations will be a little bit more difficult to do that, but we do try to have you be supervised by them so that way they can, see you one-on-one for a longer term basis. And then you would have every 3 months you do your evaluation with your preceptor, and you can check in with them to see how things are going. I think it's actually really nice having the preceptor. I graduated from the program in Markham just 3 years ago, and so I work with my previous preceptor now, but we have a really great relationship, and he's been a great mentor. All right, so I'm guessing that's the last question. So thank you everyone for listening, and I hope to see some of you guys soon in July. Bye.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Women's College Hospital presentation. My name is Heman Shukla, I'm one of the site directors. I have with me our program coordinator, Sherry Johnston. So at Women's College Hospital, we have a lot of pretty important people that will help you in your journey to becoming a family physician. Some of these doctors include Dr. Lynn Wilson, Dr. Cynthia Whitehead, Dr. Mev Rashid, Dr. Samantha Nutt, Dr. Danielle Martin, Dr. Nick Pimlott, and Dr. Vanessa Rambahar. So what do all of these people have in common? They're all celebrating family physicians at a provincial, national, and international level. And they're all staff at Women's College Hospital.
Myth number 1.
All Women's College Hospital patients are women.
Fact.
Women's College Hospital family practice has a diverse patient population, from young families to elderly, both men and women.
Myth number 2.
All Women's College Hospital staff and residents are women.
Fact.
Women's College Hospital family practice has a mix of male and female residents as well as staff.
Myth number 3.
You have to be interested in women's health for Women's College Hospital.
Fact.
Women's College Hospital family practice has a strong women's health program, but most residents at our site are not planning on pursuing obstetrics or women's health after their residency.
So just some quick facts about our program. We currently, in this academic year, we have 38 residents, and that's spread from PGY1 to PGY2. We are a block program, so you'll have 1/2 day back per week where you return to Women's College Hospital. And as with every other site, we've got the standard rotations that you have to do in your PGY1 and 2 year, like internal medicine, obstetrics, family, emerge, etc. We are located at 77 Grenville Street, right at the corner of Bay and College, in the heart of downtown Toronto. We are considered hospital-based, but we have our own separate space directly across from the main hospital. We are right on the Yonge University subway line, either at Queen's Park or at College Station, although most of our residents do live downtown.
So some highlights about our site. We are the first academic ambulatory hospital in Ontario, and our goal is to strive to keep patients out of the hospital. So one of the big bonuses at our site is that there are no other Women's College Hospital residents, and as such, the family medicine residents have a lot of access to some excellent clinics. These clinics include the Bay Center for Birth Control, our Crossroads Refugee Health Clinic with Dr. Meb Rashid, our sexual medicine counseling clinic, the acute ambulatory care unit at the hospital, which is essentially a step-down internal medicine unit that helps to keep patients out of the emergency room. We have a minor procedures clinic. We have the Family Way antenatal clinic. We have a series of shared care clinics with pediatrics, psychiatry, endocrinology, and general internal medicine, where they come and see our patients in the family practice setting, as well as a breast oncology clinic.
Another thing that is really important to us at Women's is our academics. Our Women's College residents organize weekly study groups, which include PBSGs, exam preps, and SU prep. A lot of our residents are involved in TRT, CBL, and the FMLE through the university. There are a lot of clerk teaching opportunities at Women's, and we also provide support for your PGY3 planning from day one. Additionally, many of the PGY3 programs are actually housed at Women's College Hospital Family Practice. Social aspect of residency is also really important to us. We do regular get-togethers of game nights and paint nights, and there's some athletic groups. We've got a running group, volleyball, there's a lot of yoga. Some of them are with faculty and some without, and every year we have an annual resident retreat.
So in summary, we are pretty happy about our site, and we think it's a great place to train. Here's some pictures of our residents being happy and well fed. If you want to contact us, there's Betty, me, Sherry, and the Chiefs. Please send us a line if you have any questions. Good luck with your match process.
So hi everyone. First off, congratulations on matching to U of T. I'm Sherry. I'm the program coordinator for Women's, and I'm with Dr. Betty Chen, who is one of our program directors for the site. So we'll try to make it through as many of these questions as we can. Anything that was answered in the slides, we probably will skip over for the ones that weren't. So I will get us started. What blocks have 24-hour call and how frequent are they? So I think with all of the sites, we all have pretty similar requirements. 24-hour call for obstetrics, 24-hour call for internal medicine, and emerge. Some of our residents choose to do other rotations that require 24-hour call, but for the most part, I think you're going to find all the sites have that. What if I'm interested in the +1 Emerge program? Is this the right place for me? I think that's a really personal choice. We've had many successful candidates to Emerge programs throughout Canada over the years. We've also had a lot of grads who have not necessarily gotten a +1 in Emerge, but have gone on to do Emerge rurally. So I think it's maybe don't choose your site just based on the +1 in Emerge. You have lots of elective time, and you can spend your focus on Emerge if that's your core interest. Can electives be done in any of the U of T sites? What are the limitations on electives? You get 2 electives in your first year. They can be done at U of T. We've had a lot of people go to McMaster. There's requirements to return to your home site for our academic half days and for your clinical day back. But other than that, you can pretty much go where you like. And then in your second year, you get 3 electives, and the remainder of your blocks we refer to them as selectives, which means we tell you the rotation that you have to do, but you can choose to do it anywhere. So you have to do Emerge in your second year, but you can do it at Sinai or you can do it in Kingston. So that's up to you. How does one's half day back work during electives? The exact same as it works The rest of the year, you're required to return to women's for your half day back and for your academic half day every week, unless you're on vacation or a teaching practice. Betty, do you want to cover the OB call?
So basically, obstetrics, you are required to do one block on the obstetrics service. So that is with the obstetricians and the specialty team. And in terms of family medicine OB, you are on call for family medicine OB during your family blocks.
Great. So
that's Mount Sinai Hospital. So the Women's College Family Practice Obstetrics, all of the patients are delivered out of Mount Sinai Hospital.
Pediatrics Emerge is done at Sick Kids. Your internal medicine rotations are generally done at UHN, so Toronto Western or Toronto General. Occasionally Sinai will get thrown in there as well. Palliative care is inpatient. Psychiatry is either outpatient or Emerge. What are most of the core rotations at Women's? I'm not sure if this question means what are the requirements or what do you do physically on site, but the requirements are in, hopefully you guys attended the interviews, which I'm sure you all did, and picked up one of the brochures, but we have the same pretty much as all of the other U of T sites, with the exception of we require women's health in your second year. We require sports medicine or MSK in your second year, whereas I think some of the sites don't. Core rotations that are done at Women's, it varies. Few in your first year, other than family medicine. In the second year, most of the residents do choose to do all of the majority of their core rotations on site. You obviously can't do Emerge. We don't have an Emerge. As mentioned in our slides, we're the first ambulatory hospital in Ontario. And you, surgery, things like that, people tend to go to Sinai and do urology for that. How often is it? We do not go to Sunnybrook as frequently as we used to. There is a shuttle bus. Sometimes people will go out there for ophthalmology. Pretty much ophthalmology is the one that I'm thinking of offhand. You do a half day a week in family medicine clinic, and it's the same every week. It doesn't vary. So if Dr. Chen is your clinical day back, you will see her every Thursday morning for 2 years. I think I covered the 24-hour call for internal medicine already. CTU, one or the other. The internal medicine rotation at a CTU, yes, it's at a CTU at one of the sites that I just mentioned. Are residents expected to return? Absolutely. As I've mentioned a couple times now, you're required to be on site at least a half day a week. There are no mandatory rotations at Sunnybrook any longer. OB rotation. The OB rotation, go ahead, Betty.
In first year, it's a one block with the obstetricians, and then the remainder of your obstetrical experience is with family doctors.
Do preceptors have specific interests? Absolutely. So Dr. Chen, she does low risk OB and has an interest in educational scholarship. Dr. Shukla, who is our other program director, is a sports medicine physician. We have emerge docs, we have breast health docs, we have home visit specialists, we have our refugee health team. We've got a little bit of probably everything, a big research team. Some people who just do women's health. We have those who do abortion care. So there's a lot of variety in that aspect. Once you match to women's, you'll get an email from me welcoming you to our site. And along with that is a form that you will fill out. And if you tell me that your lifelong dream is to, deliver babies, then you will likely get paired with someone who does obstetrics. For those who are interested in sports medicine, you've got a better shot of ending up with Dr. Shukla as your supervisor, just to help kind of guide you through your 2-year program. What rotations are done out of women's? So most of the ambulatory ones in the 2nd year. So medicine is done at women's. The sports medicine is all done with Women's College Hospital faculty. It's not necessarily done on site, but it's done with our faculty. The same with the women's health. The one great thing I think the residents love about being at women's is the Bay Center for Birth Control, which some of you may have reached out to me for electives over the years. I apologize if you didn't get one. And it's a 2-week rotation at Bay Center, and then you do 2 weeks in breast health, and that counts as your women's health. All your family medicine blocks. People will do AACU, psychiatry of a strong mental health program at women's. Some of the surgery interest, because we're doing a lot of day surgeries now. So people are doing, the trans program, or we're doing same day orthopedic surgeries that people have started to do for those rotations. There is no OB call during your women's health rotation. Are we responsible for our own family medicine patients' labs? Absolutely, 100%. You sign a contract at the beginning of your residency with your day back supervisor, and you're required to check your messages. And if you're going to be away for an extended period of time, you do need to sign your stuff over to another resident or your staff physician.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that when you are matched to this site, you actually inherit your own practice. You are identified as the patient's family doctor, and when you sign off on any requisitions or lab orders, a copy does come to you as the signing physician. So you do very quickly assume the responsibility and identity of a family doctor for this panel of patients.
Absolutely. Are you doing OB call during all family medicine blocks? Yes. Core Emerge done at Sinai? No. It's done North York General, Toronto East are the 2 biggest ones. St. Joe's is another one our residents have really enjoyed over the years. And recently we've just introduced Humber River to our PGY1 Emerge program, which is sort of allowed, because it's right off the highway, a sort of different patient population for the residents to see. How many family medicine core rotations? There are 4 in your first year and 1 selective family program where you'll do everything but family medicine clinics. So you do Bay Center, Crossroads, environmental health, procedures clinic, psychiatry shared care, endo shared care, that kind of thing. And then there are 2 in your 2nd year because you also do 2 at teaching practice. We sort of count those as well. I think I answered this women's health rotation question, but most of our residents will choose to do the Bay Center for Birth Control. Those keen on obstetrics will do OB. Some people will do Crossways Clinic, breast health, abortion care has been another one people have done in the past, fertility. So there's lots of options for your women's health rotation. The learning objectives for the surgery block. So those are all posted, which you'll have access to once you join our site. I don't really have time to go into all of those right now, unfortunately, nor do I have them memorized, to be honest. So we have 3 minutes left. So there are 2 electives in your first year and 3 in your 2nd year. How many residents per preceptor on family medicine? So most of you would be paired with one staff, one resident, and then someone who's on block will be in that teaching clinic as well. If you've spoken to any of the horizontal programs, how they have one preceptor that monitors everyone, we generally have multiple teaching clinics going on. We're divided over 2 floors and 4 teams, so we can have up to 4 teaching clinics going on at a time. There's never more than 3 learners in any teaching clinic at one time. Is there a limit on how many away electives? Yes, you may do 1 per year, pre-approved by myself, Dr. Shukla, and Dr. Chen.
And that's not including teaching practice, that's a separate.
Absolutely, absolutely. What percentage of residents will pursue? I would say 3 or 4 per year.
Max,
and
it's more like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it depends on the year. Sometimes we'll get, a few doing OB, which is, 3-month program, so it's a little different. But I think this year we had 4 or 5 that matched to PGY3 programs. Do you have 1 preceptor? For your clinical day back, yes. The remainder of your family medicine clinic when you're on block, you will generally stay on your team. What is the medicine block? It is not CTU. It is an outpatient. It could be if you like, but generally it's not. It's usually respirology, cardiology, derm, endo, rheumatology, that kind of thing. What does teaching practice look like? Do you want to cover that one, Betty?
It all depends on what site you choose. Some of them are more like a suburban or community-based practice. So it may geographically not be that far away. Other sites might be a smaller town or in a rural setting. So it all depends on what you choose. And partway through your first year, Sherry will send you what the options are, and you have to rank order them at when the time comes.
So I think we are actually out of time, so I'm really sorry about that. We didn't get through everybody's questions. My email is there, and so is our chiefs and Dr. Shukla and Dr. Chen. Feel free to email me or send them to the chiefs, and they can email us, and I'll answer all of them in one big shot. But good luck and enjoy the rest of your sessions.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jennifer McDonald, and I'm the Site Program Director for the Department of Family and Community Medicine Family Medicine Residency Program at the Scarborough Health Network. Today I'll be giving a short 5-minute presentation about our hospital site, the Scarborough Hospitals, collectively called Scarborough Health Network, or SHN, followed by a Q&A session. So welcome to Scarborough. This is the Scarborough sign, which is an art project that moves around the Scarborough region, as well as the Scarborough Bluffs and a selfie of our residents. Some quick facts about us. We have 12 residents in each year, 24 in total. The site's program structure is a block curriculum, where during off-service rotations, you will have a stable half-day back. There is 1 elective in PGY1 and 4 electives in PGY2. Scarborough Health Network is a full-service community health network with 3 hospitals. Our academic half-day and administrative office is located at the General Hospital, which is at the intersection of Lawrence and McCowan. Many of our rotations are based at this location. Some rotations are based at the Birchmount Hospital, which is at the intersection of Birchmount and Finch. One of our rotations is at the Centenary Hospital, which is at Ellesmere and Morningside. So what is our community like? Scarborough Health Network serves a very diverse and vulnerable population. 60% of Scarborough residents were not born in Canada. 9% are recent immigrants to Canada, coming from countries including China, the Philippines, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. 25% of children living in Scarborough are living in low-income families. And 8 of the 31 neighborhood improvement areas in Toronto are located in Scarborough. Because of this, our site is focused on developing curriculum and experiences around the social determinants of health that affect our patients here. Rotation blocks of SHN are here. We have 3 blocks of family medicine per year, as well as the core rotations listed here. Since we are the only formal full-time residency program at the hospital, our off-service rotations are precepted by staff very familiar with family medicine residents and their learning needs. Residents here receive one-on-one teaching from preceptors with a focus on family medicine. Program strengths. In family medicine, we have clinics in the community with preceptors who have real-life practices. It is a resident-centered program with a dedicated academic advisor to review learning and elective plans. Our academic advisor's position is also to provide wellness support at our site. As a site, our call generally ends at 11 p.m. in order to limit post-call days and the impact on your day-to-day learning opportunities. Obstetrical call, however, is 24 hours. Other program strengths include our procedures courses for R1s, popular rotations run by family doctors including emergency medicine and palliative care, as well as opportunities to help teach medical students with our undergrad program. Highlights of the program according to our current residents. Residents mention that we are likely the site with the most diverse patient population in Toronto, and that this has given them opportunities to manage unique pathologies and to encounter unique presentations and challenges. They mention the well-supported academic half-days, our dedicated specialist colleagues, and our family medicine preceptors. We have an intensive CFPC exam prep, including CFPC reviews and simulated office oral program. They mention one-on-one teaching. They work directly with staff and preceptors without multiple layers of other learners. As well, they mention responsive leadership and excellent support staff person, Stacy M. Our residents also like to have fun. Resident social events in the past few years have included treetop trekking, raptors games, dinners, axe throwing. And right here at the bottom, they were just at Loblaws doing a turkey drive for Second Harvest. If there are any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact any of us at any time. Here is the contact information for our chief residents, Stacy, and myself, Jen McDonald. Thanks for your attention, and we look forward to any questions that you might have.
Hi everyone, so I'm Jen McDonald. I think you can hear me. Congratulations on matching to the University of Toronto. I'm ready for questions if there are any. And just to let you know that hopefully you do know what the teaching practices are. That's within all of University of Toronto, so those are the same wherever you go. Okay, questions. How flexible is the timing of the electives in the second year? Well, it's interesting that you're asking that. So our second year, basically similar to what you've heard tonight, our first year is very set out. We'll give that to you in May. Obviously, you do have a little bit of input into the timing of things if you have weddings or things that you need to do in the first year. But basically in February, your main responsibility is to make your own schedule for the second year. We really want to be flexible. There's a lot of electives. I think you saw there's 4 electives in second year. And we really want you to have those electives when you want them for various reasons that you may want. We're super resident focused, so that is part of our site that we do. Okay, next question. Most sites have 3 half-days per week for their FEM clinic. How does it compare with 1 half-day a week? Okay, so we're the block model, so it's different than what you've heard before about the horizontal model from what you've heard the last couple of sites. So that does make it a little bit different in that you have the 1 half-day back per week. Interestingly, I feel like most of the people who pick the block model really like that, and the people who are on the horizontal model really like that. So you probably will enjoy everything that you have. But just to look at my own residents, we try and keep that a stable half-day back. So for example, like the Thursday morning, then it will be the Thursday morning always. So you can book patients back and kind of really have the continuity that you need as a family doctor. So that would be, I mean, it totally depends, but you have less half-day backs, but you still have a stable half-day back, so you can get that continuity that we really need you to experience. Okay, next question maybe, what are the call requirements for this site? That seems to be a popular question tonight. So really, we're a fully community-based hospital, and really the teachers that we want you to have experiences with work during the day. And really as a site, we've decided that we don't want you to miss post-call days because you might see things in clinic the next day. So as a site, most of our rotations, you can hear me saying that, the call will end at 11 unless something is really happening and they ask you to stay, which is fairly rare. So those rotations would be pediatrics in first year, that ends at 11 p.m. General internal medicine, that ends at 11 p.m. There is some weekend calls on GIM as well. Our MSK rotation, there's one call per week, and that's till 11. There's a little bit of call like on the weekend and psychiatry rotation, but again, that ends at 11 if there is that. OB rotation is really our 24-hour call, and it is 1 in 4. So that is one that does have the call because it's busy all around. So it is worth taking that, that post-call day off after. General surgery, I should also mention, ends at 11. And that's pretty much that. Let me just see. Can you explain more about the social determinants of health curriculum that was mentioned? Absolutely. So this is kind of an exciting development that we've had for about 2 to 3 years now. I mean, our community, if anybody is familiar with Scarborough, is really, really diverse, like I was trying to say in the presentation. And really it's time that we focus on that in a more formal way, although our residents always got that education in a less formal way in the past. But really in the last couple of years, we've been working on an actual curriculum to kind of bring to the residents that's kind of a little bit more formal and talks about social determinants of health, but also kind of in experiential ways. We do have basically something called Stand Up for Health that residents kind of can take part in. Basically, it's basically where you're running around a gym and you're kind of doing an experiment. Let me explain it a little bit better. Basically, you're kind of doing a role play of somebody who might have some of these social determinants of health issues, and then something happens to you, and then you have to make decisions that kind of, so you can kind of put yourself in that person's place. It's actually been a really great experiential model. We also have Stand Up for Indigenous Health, which is this similar thing, but it's with Indigenous population. So we do have that as well. Okay, so that's that. Is it possible to live downtown Toronto? Absolutely. You know, a lot of people commute in various ways. We had one person bicycle from downtown Toronto. It's a little bit difficult in the winter, but people have totally done it, and definitely people have had a car in downtown Toronto and have driven to our site. It's absolutely possible all the time. How many core FM blocks in each PGY year? And the answer is there's 3 core blocks in each year. So that FM block, actually, I should say there's 2 FM blocks back to back, and then the one is at another time in your year. So during those blocks, let's say each block will have one Saturday per block that you're responsible for. It's basically a 9 to 12 clinic, and that's per block, so it's per month. And then everybody's responsible to cover one evening per week while you're on block. During FM block, you also have a half-day selective, so you can spend that time in anything that lends itself to family medicine. A lot of people do perhaps lumps and bumps, so they might do dermatology selective, or they might work with allied health like social work or dietitian or chiropody. There's various opportunities, and obviously our preceptors will help you with that as well. Okay, do you have a set of patients that you're responsible for when you're not in clinic? Lab values and messages and emails from patients. Okay, so I should mention that in our family, for our family medicine, you really work one-on-one with a family medicine preceptor. So similar to other sites, we do send around a very important questionnaire at the beginning of the year. We try and match you to somebody who not only has maybe interests clinically that you have, but also kind of maybe been learning philosophies or other things that might be important to you. So we do ask all those questions. We do match you, and generally speaking, that goes very well. You're paired one-on-one with a family medicine preceptor. And our strength in Scarborough is really the community. We have a very small family medicine teaching unit with only 2 teachers there. But the rest of the residents will be in clinics around Scarborough. We even have a clinic in Pickering that we're affiliated with, which has a very popular site. And we also have residents in Bowmanville. So that's a site that we have. Obviously, nobody is forced to go to Bowmanville, but if you live that way or if you're interested in more of a perhaps rural experiences, absolutely ask us about that. So the question was, do you have a set of patients that you're responsible for? So your patients are also your family medicine preceptors' patients, basically. So we kind of give you a little set of our patients for the time that you're here. Usually that set of patients, you inherit from the family medicine preceptor's past resident, and they might even be a handover where they discuss, you know, some of the things that they're following up on, etc. Sometimes our preceptors will actually take patients into their practice just for you to look after. So yes, you are responsible for blood tests and messages and stuff like that. A lot of our residents do have home access to our EMR, and if you don't, then we kind of will talk to you about that. We don't tend to really get emails and stuff from our patients that you're responsible for answering if you're not in the clinic. Okay, how many international medical graduates train at your site? Thanks. So traditionally we've had 4 international medical graduates at our site per year. And so that's like a little cohort of people who sometimes, who you know, might know each other from the pre-residency training that they have to do. And that's generally how many we have. Somebody is mentioning on the panel question, how many residents in the program, and is it possible to do out-of-province electives? So the first thing, how many residents in the program? So we have 12 usually people in each year, and so about 24, 25 residents in the whole program. Is it possible to do out-of-province electives? The answer to that is absolutely. So I think with all of U of T, DFCM, you basically have the opportunity to do 1 away elective per year. And so that means where you don't have to come back for your half day back, because we do want people to have continuity. I think it's limited to that. Having said that, we have had people do far in province as long as they can manage to do their half day back, that's fine. Out of province, it's hard obviously to manage that. But I think that's throughout the DFCM. Just some other things, just from when I was kind of listening, you know, how successful are people at the R3 match? So certainly at our site, you know, it is about 3. So out of the 12 people, it's usually about 3 people who might do a R3, and we actually have been also successful at matching to hospitalist, emerge, OB. We've had some people do the SEMI program, which you may know is another extra training in emergency medicine at our site. Let me just see if there's any other questions. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry, you're just clarifying. So somebody just asked me, is it 12 CMG residents or 8 CMG, 4 IMG? It's 8 CMG and usually 4 IMG. That would be more reflective of what we have. It's 12 total. As you may know, the IMGs are starting at the same time as the CMGs this year. Some people were kind of saying, are most things inpatient or outpatient? Because we're community, you do pretty much whatever your preceptor generally does, which is usually a mix of both. We also have a pediatrics rotation in second year, which is almost all clinics, basically. Just to kind of keep saying some things. Our residents are involved with, we have people doing, a lot of people doing teaching residents to teach. And then some people have gone on to take family medicine longitudinal experience, which is a second year medical school medical student, basically. And then we also have had some people take on some teaching responsibilities for the transition to residency program, which some of you may be in right now through U of T. Okay. What does the surgery rotation look like? Is it inpatient or outpatient centered? So the general surgery rotation is generally in the hospital, but our surgeons run a lot of clinics. You do have call basically 1 in 4, but again, that goes till 11. Why? Because we want people to not miss the clinics, which are really important. I kind of mentioned this in the presentation, but our specialty preceptors are excellent at knowing what you guys are supposed to be learning, and they really come at that focus as opposed to teaching like if you're going to be a surgeon. They teach you as if you're going to be a family medicine colleague. So that's a big perk of our program. I think I'm almost done. Just to kind of one last thing I'm going to mention is please email any of us. Stacy McEwen is our amazing program assistant. She's amazing. Our chief residents are great at answering a lot of questions. So please, if you have any other questions, let them know. Okay, thanks so much.
Hi, this is Sarah Fleming, the Site Director at the Toronto Western Family Health Team, University Health Network. We are currently located at the Toronto Western Hospital at Bathurst Street and Dundas Street West. We are easily accessible by TTC with streetcar and bus stops in close proximity, as well as on-site parking available. We are situated in a lively part of downtown Toronto, close to the shops, cafes, and established neighborhoods of Kensington Village, Little Portugal, Little Italy, Chinatown, and Queen West. While still affiliated with the hospital, in spring 2020, we will be moving across the street to a brand new clinical space. Our family health team provides care to a rich and diverse patient population. We care for people of all ages, of various backgrounds, and with a multitude of health needs, thus helping to provide you with a comprehensive clinical experience. We are an academic family health team that welcomes learners from many healthcare fields with a strong emphasis on our postgraduate program, training up to 28 residents per year on site. We are a horizontal program where residents return for 3 clinical half-days per week, every week, except on higher acuity rotations. Residents inherit their own roster of patients, allowing you to carry a mini practice over the duration of your training. In each of your PGY1 and PGY2 years, you are paired with a primary preceptor to help oversee your training and foster continuity in your education. You have 9 core rotations in PGY1 and 6 in PGY2, with a notable 11 electives available over the course of your training. 5 of the electives must be from our selective list to ensure comprehensiveness. These include a mandatory emergency medicine selective and other options such as pediatrics, rural or international medicine, home or long-term care, psychotherapy, and so on. The elective time allows you to better tailor the program to your learning needs, but also requires a high degree of organization and personal responsibility. We support residents with a host of commonly used and highly reviewed experiences to choose from. Here is a sample week from the Family Medicine Enriched block in your PGY1 year. Some clinical highlights at our site include special family medicine-centered experiences, such as the Family Inpatient Service, hospital-based care uniquely led by our family physicians. Similarly, our obstetrical care program offers family physician-led care with prenatal care offered on-site and deliveries performed at Mount Sinai Hospital. We have an active roster of patients who receive care in their home as part of our home-based care program. Residents follow 1 or 2 of their own patients in the home as an extension of this program. We also have a procedures clinic at our family health team where residents gain experience with common procedures under one-to-one supervision with family medicine staff. Finally, we have close partnerships with several consultants, with a pediatrician, general internist, and psychiatrist doing consultations for our patients in our unit. Educational highlights include our Partners in Care course, 2-on-2 training that focuses on the delivery of patient-centered care, time management skills, and agenda setting in Year 1, as well as providing in-depth CFPC exam preparation in Year 2. We have a new portfolio course to help support reflective learning about one's identity as a new doctor and various wellness topics. We have a robust ethics curriculum and Doing It Better rounds, where we carry out a significant event analysis in a supportive large group environment. The list goes on, but I will note that we have strong site support for resident QI and academic projects. Resident wellness is of utmost importance to us. You will have multiple layers of support at the Toronto Western Family Health Team. There are social representatives and a social budget to facilitate dinners, parties, and retreats, in addition to family health team-wide events, such as your welcome breakfast and holiday and graduation parties. Residents will also have a new designated lounge in our upcoming clinical space. We have many dedicated and caring teachers and both site-specific and central resources readily available to you. We would love to hear from you. Please reach out if you have any questions at the contact shown here. Many thanks, and we look forward to working with many of you.
Ready to go? Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Fleming. I'm the Site Director at Toronto Western Family Health Team University Health Network. I'm sure that everyone is getting a little bit tired, but I will do my best to answer all of your questions to the best of my ability. So a few questions have already come in here, so let's get started. Do preceptors have specific interests, such as peds, vulnerable populations, and are we paired with one preceptor or a team? So our family health team is divided into north and south sides. For both your PGY1 and your PGY2 year, you are paired with one primary preceptor. You are welcome to reach out to me in advance of starting for your PGY1 year if you have particular interests, as we have preceptors who do family medicine obstetrics, family inpatient service, home-based care, so lots of very specific interests. And then for your PGY2 year, your primary preceptor changes, and for that you get to submit to me your top 3 choices, and we make sure that we pair someone with somebody that they are keen to work with. Aside from the primary preceptor, who we try to protect a half day per week with them, including on your higher acuity rotations, you are also assigned to working with other staff supervisors who we do try to maintain consistency with. So they're not your primary, but there will be some continuity in supervision on your 2 other half days back per week. There is some variability there, as sometimes your half days back do change depending on what rotation you're on. I just want to make sure I'm keeping up with everyone's questions here. Are there any other residency programs based at this site or that frequently rotate through? So certainly at Toronto Western Hospital, it's a very large academic hospital. In all of the other specialties, there are resident programs. At our site, aside from learners who are medical students or pharmacy residents or nursing students, for example, it's really only our family medicine residents who are working outside of our family health team. Do preceptors oh, I already got that one. Let me just get rid of that. There we go. I'm just catching on to the system here. Okay. Given the home-based care program, is having a car important? Good question. We have our home-based care patient population, and they all are within close proximity to the hospital, and that is actually one of the conditions for patients becoming part of our home-based care program. So having a car is not necessary. Some of our staff like to bike, subway. Sometimes you get a ride if you're going with the staff as well. We also have taxi chits for this purpose for people who do live a bit further or for inclement weather. For rural selective, do you have to do half days back? Where can the international selective take place? So our program is very much about self-directed learning. As I said, as you know, it's a horizontal program with the 3 half days back, but as per some other sites as well, you are allowed to take, to do 1 rotation for each of your PGY1 and PGY2 years as away electives, as long as your primary preceptor's on board as well. And for those particular rotations, you do not have to come back for your half days back. We do make academic half-day programming available to you remotely, if that's of interest to you as well. Sometimes people do electives that are a little bit further away, but do make it back for their half days. And we can also accommodate schedules so that you are able to perhaps cluster your clinics if you do want to attend, 3 days in a row, for example, somewhere else. How many residents per preceptor on family medicine days back? Great question. We have, I think, what is a very strong supervision model. We do have one dedicated staff supervisor per clinical half day who's solely responsible for supervising and providing guidance and review to residents. At a maximum, it's 1 supervisor to 3 residents. It's often less than that. And if there's any more than that, we actually have 2 supervisors who are on the go for a given clinical half day. Do selectives have to be at Toronto Western Hospital, or can they be at any U of T sites? They can be at any U of T site. We do have an elective catalog, which we review yearly, and existing residents try to leave helpful tips and notes about them, but there's a lot of flexibility in terms of where you go in. We do have to approve away electives. How many residents, got that one already. Gotta keep my queue going here, are the OB rotations with family doctors? So excellent question as well. So we have actually 3 OB related rotations in your 24-month residency. We have a block 1 that we call OB1, and that is with obstetrics and gynecologists on Mount Sinai on the L&D floor. This actually might be changing in the upcoming year, but no promises yet. OB2 is with the family medicine team. So you're in the obstetrical care program at Toronto Western Hospital, providing prenatal care, and then you're doing shifts with our family medicine obstetric MDs, delivering babies with them directly. Same with the maternal newborn month, which is in your block, I should say, which is in your PGY2 year. That's also doing call with the family medicine folks who do obstetrics, in addition to other notable experiences such as lactation clinics, work with the mom and baby unit, postpartum rounding on both mom and babies as well. All right. How does the site facilitate international or remote electives? So we don't so much as facilitate them as support residents who are keen in terms of the international electives. So usually it would be a resident coming with a proposal, and then we would do all the checks and balances to make sure that it's going to be a safe and excellent learning opportunity. For the more rural electives, some of our staff participate in the Rural Northern Initiative, and we certainly facilitate that. So we'll send out notices if a staff is going for 2 weeks as part of R&I and invite usually PGY2s to participate in that as well. How many of the 4 months of selective electives have to be done in selectives? Okay, so so there's 4 electives in your PGY1 year, and then 7 electives in your PGY2 year. Out of those 11, 5 of them do have to be selectives, but it's not that some of those selectives necessarily even have to happen in your 4 of the PGY1 year, if that makes sense. So as long as the selectives are completed by the end of your residency, I'm happy. And we do meet, you meet with your preceptors on a quarterly basis, and we meet together on a 6-month basis to make sure that sort of your curriculum and elective planning is all looking solid. So we work together to make sure that you don't have any experiential learning gaps. How limited am I in my electives for the 11 electives? For example, could I do anesthesia and ICU? Absolutely. You're not limited. The selective list even includes things like in-hospital medicine, procedure skills training. So we're very supportive of a really comprehensive training program and really want the program to match your learning needs. You know, a lot of residents have clear ideas about where they'd like to work, you know, additional areas that they'd like to specialize in. And this program really does allow you to have that flexibility in designing your training. How many of the rotations are done within Toronto Western Hospital versus other hospitals? Also a very good question. I don't have an exact number off of off the top of my head, but I can go through all of the individual rotations. The family inpatient service and CTU certainly happen at Toronto Western Hospital. For OB, as I alluded to, the prenatal clinics happen at Toronto Western Hospital, but deliveries are done at Mount Sinai. We've got an emergency at Toronto Western Hospital in your PGY 1 year. There is a pediatrics emergency rotation, which is done at Sick Kids. So that's outside. For example, our musculoskeletal rotation, you do some of it at the Alton Clinic at Toronto Western Hospital. There's a stat room clinic at Toronto Western Hospital and some limited experience in the fracture clinic with orthopedics at Toronto Western Hospital. But there are also community sports medicine as part of that rotation, for example. What rotations have I missed? Family medicine enriched happens all with us. There's ambulatory pediatrics, which happens in the community. We have very well reviewed pediatricians who you do ambulatory peds with, and they're terrific. Anything else that I'm missing here? I think I hit the big ones. Oh, palliative care that also happens at Toronto Western Hospital. There is 1 week that's done at Kensington Hospice as part of that rotation as well. Do all residents have to do international med rotation? No, you don't. It's a fairly lengthy selectives list that you choose from for your 5. For example, I think I named some of them certainly in the presentation, but I have a little short list here too. So psychotherapy, sports medicine, peds, long-term care, home care, care of underserved populations. That could be, you know, work in Indigenous health, addictions medicine, newcomer care, occupational medicine, additional procedural skills training, rehabilitation medicine, any rotation involving in-hospital care, for example. Those are all selectives. So out of that long list, 5 of your electives have to sort of match up to those selectives. And again, we work together on that. What is Family Medicine Enriched? Family Medicine Enriched is really a grab bag of experiences that are meant to be family medicine centered and help to complement your learning. There's certainly family medicine clinic. Our family medicine procedures clinics happen during the family medicine enriched block, where for 2 half days, again, you're paired with that supervisor and you get referrals from our family health team to do common procedures such as IUD, excisions, punch biopsies, and so on. There's also some work, you do a half day per week with in the long-term care, you do home care, you get to work a little bit with our RT or PT. There's usually a day with our on-site pediatrician who does consults for us and our family health team. So it really is a mixed experience. You also do warfarin training with our pharmacists as part of that family medicine enriched month. So it's highly rated, and importantly for most PGY1s, they also participate in our Partners in Care program during the family medicine enriched block. And that's where you meet with a social worker, there's 1 designated staff and 1 of your colleagues, and you really work on patient-centered medicine. So a lot of FIFE, but what's very important often to PGY1s early on is achieving good agenda setting while also, you know, delivering very patient-centered care and being safe and thorough. So that's often a focus of residents during their FM enriched month as well, or block, I should say. Is GIM always at Toronto Western Hospital? Yes, it is. Do we have 3 half days of family medicine clinic during our electives? Yes, you do. You are, except for the away electives, if you have a higher acuity elective you'd like to do, which people often do, you know, such as ICU, for example, we do have the option of perhaps maintaining 1 half day back with your primary preceptor, and then we just sort of bank those additional 2 family medicine half days, and then you make those up in another elective. So have a more, you know, heavily family medicine focused elective another time. So there's some flexibility to make sure that you get the experience you need. Are any off-service rotations done at different hospitals? I think I answered that one well. Where is OB and PGY1 done and mom and newborn and PGY2? What is the difference? Is it with OBs or family docs? I think I got to that. Hope you were listening to my answer there. Again, the OB, PGY1, OB1 and PGY1 is at Mount Sinai Hospital with the OB-GYNs right now, again, pending some possible modifications there. And maternal newborn is done with the prenatal clinics at Toronto Western. Deliveries with the family doctor still done at Mount Sinai. Can all 6 elective blocks be done at any U of T site in any topic? So again, I think I got to this one. Hopefully that was answered before I talked a little bit more about selectives and electives. What percentage of residents are successfully matched to PGY3? Very good question. We actually had a significant proportion of our residents matched to PGY3 programs this year. How many did we maybe have? 4 emergency medicine matches, 2 family inpatient hospitalist matches, 1 sports medicine, 1 OB. So we had lots of PGY3, but I can't speak to other years off the top of my head. Are there opportunities to do clerk teaching at the site? Definitely. As part of the core clerk rotations, they are sometimes matched with residents during regular clinic time. Residents also often participate in teaching residents to teach, so we most definitely support that, and also support residents in participating in the family medicine longitudinal elective, where they take a medical student under their wing, have them shadow them during, sorry, just reading the chats there that I missed, during their family medicine clinic. Is Toronto Western a good site for hospitalist training? Do many grads go on to do a +1 in hospitalist? It's an excellent site for hospitalist training because of our family inpatient service. It's very unique that we have an inpatient service that's run by family doctors. And in fact, one of those family doctors is the lead of the hospitalist program at U of T. So we often get lots of our residents who continue on to do the hospitalist program in their PGY3 year. There's the CTU block, and there's also 2 of the family inpatient service blocks. So very good hospitalist training, mostly also family medicine centered. One more question. I might be running out of time here. Of course, I can't see my clock because of all my things. Oh, I am. Oh, goodness. What have I missed? Are all core rotations at Toronto Western? Got to that one. How many patients do residents see in family medicine clinics on each day? That changes as you progress through your training. It starts with, a patient every, like 5 patients in a half day, 4 patients in a half day initially for lots of time to review. And then that increases up to, 8 to 10 towards the end of your PGY2 training. I think I am out of time. I hope that I've answered most of everyone's important questions. And I very much look forward to seeing many of you in not too long. So best wishes in this process.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you Thursday night.